Hi, everybody. Hello. Hello. Welcome to Thought Salon today. Welcome to your one-page marketing plan, how to create and communicate your value. Some of you who have worked with me know that communicating your value is one of the 5 steps to creating a business, a successful creative business. So that is what I'm trying to fill in that 5-step process with this workshop and help you with a really simple way of being able to think about your marketing. There is a worksheet in the chat. There's a link. You can bring that up, scroll down to the button, download that PDF and print it if that's easy. If not, you can just use your journal and do the worksheet later. Today, just listen, however you want to do it. This will be your one-page marketing plan by the time we're done today. It's super simple. It has 3 parts. And what I want to do is go backwards before this beautiful little one-page plan, because for this to be effective, there are some things behind it that will really help you make progress, understand why you're doing it. We're going to work on how we get there today. I am your instructor, Shannon Borg. I am a writer, a beachcomber. Notice that in position number 2 on this. It's really important to me. I love the beach. I live in the Midwest right now, but I go back and forth to the coast and always go and become rejuvenated by the water. I'm an artist. I became an artist at age 50. I always wanted to be an artist, but I didn't start painting seriously until that time. Why? Because of fear, because of other things that were in my way, because I didn't really think I could. As I started down that path, becoming an artist, realizing that I could help people with the skills that I had from my former life in publishing and marketing and writing, I realized that not only did people need those skills, but they needed to understand that their mind was doing a number on them, as on all of us. We needed to work on our mindset. I needed to work on my mindset. So I really started studying how that could happen. And eventually I became a certified life coach and a Squarespace web designer. So all of these things have added up to me believing and realizing that I can help people. And I want to pass on what I've learned. And of course, also engage with what you know and the wisdom that you bring to your own businesses and to each other in this community that I'm building, where people can share and exchange ideas and exchange thoughts, because that is really what this is all about. I have a program called the Metaphor Mindset Studio. It's 6 months now. Before it was 1 month, and then it was 3 months. And as my belief built and my skills built, I grew it into a 6-month program. It is also includes the Art Business Circle community, which is really fun and really growing. And people go in and post their art and post articles and post their newsletters and their ideas and their websites, so we can comment and grow and learn together. I have some clients who are not quote unquote visual artists. Some people are healers in the healing arts. Some people are professors in the teaching arts. I just want you to know that everyone is welcome here, because I believe creativity is the essence of what we do as human beings. I want to start with this question. Notice how you feel in your body and your emotions when I say the thought or the sentence, how does art create value in the world? Just notice what you feel about that. I'm going to go over a few questions and present these to you, and then I want to open up for conversation really quick before we move on to the next stage. How does art create value in the world? Next question. How does your art create value in the world? If art is a big umbrella, Your art might be a smaller umbrella under that huge umbrella. Notice your emotions when I say, how does your art create value in the world? You can jot some things down if you would like. Next question. How does art, big A, umbrella, how does art create money in the world? And I want you to notice your thoughts and your emotions. You're thinking of all the ways that art might create money in the world. And then what emotions come up with that? How does art create money in the world? Next question. Notice your emotions when I say, how does your art create money in the world? Okay, so I'm going to open it up a little bit, and please unmute yourself if you'd like to talk. I'll stop sharing and just get a few people giving some input here. You can put it in the chat, or you can just call out some of the things that came up for you.
I'll start. Not a visual artist. I build custom chairs and furniture. So my art borders along craft, which is a fight a lot of people that make chairs have, but I make artistic chairs, one off, each one's unique. So for me, it's a little more obvious. My art is also utility at the same time as being art. So there is some value in that.
Okay. And I want you to notice that we often separate utility, usefulness from art. And so today we're going to talk about the difference and the value of each part of that. Okay. So what is utility? All right. Great input. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Okay, Matt, just a couple other things and then we'll go on from there. Anyone else?
Maybe I'll say something.
Yes.
I totally agree with you. I'm sorry, what's your name? Matt. I paint now, but I also have a design business. And one of the reasons I have a design business is maybe I don't completely believe that I can fully make money from painting. So that's a bit of a split. So I know I can make it from design. So which is a craft in itself, right? It's a craft. And I'm really trying not to give them equal value in myself. I don't think one should be more valuable. Maybe one's more valuable in terms of money in the world, but I don't even know. I'm very confused about that.
Okay, great. Excellent. You're in the right place then, Anne. It's a process, right? Okay. Anyone else before I go back to the
Yeah, this is quick, but it totally ties in, which is I'm in the field of education, and what I'm seeing at my university is the eliminating of these soft and aesthetic and beautiful aspects of courses to focus on skills. We have to get our students jobs. Do you know what I mean? And it's eliminating some of the beauty and, quite frankly, the purpose of life. To go to these really hardcore, this course needs to have scalable outcomes. How are they going to use this on a daily basis to make money? Yeah.
Okay, great. And for those who just joined us, Nick, I see you just joined us. Our question that we're talking about are, what are your emotions when I say, how does art create value in the world? How does your art create value in the world? How does art create money in the world? How does your art create money in the world? So notice that people talked about a few things, but the first thing we don't go to is our emotions. No one said, it makes me feel fearful. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel excited. It makes me feel depressed. It makes me feel, right? So our brains are starting to think, but we're not really tapping into our emotions about it because we often don't think, oh, money, emotion, value, or money, value, art, all that stuff we need to think about. Right. So what's an emotion there, Matt?
Uncomfortable. I feel comfortable talking about building something that is tangible, like a chair that someone can use. I find it uncomfortable talking about money and something I'm building as art that I'm quite passionate about and put, quite frankly, my best into. And what's the value to me? It's different than what the value is to the world. So
Okay. Perfect.
feel like that's a struggle every day as a creative business.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Excellent. All right. Great. Sabrina.
So I am also a professor and I work as a hospital chaplain and I'm building a private business. And I recently realized that I think that if I have a deep-seated, very negative and inappropriate belief that people who sell things directly for money are evil capitalists. And I see y'all are laughing, so maybe some of you feel this way as well. And that I'm like, oh, can't I just live in a barter system where I give away everything and people bring me everything I need and no money changes hands? So I've been really wrestling with that because I do believe that my work creates connection, opens awareness, fosters healing, fosters transformation, and that the people who want to pay me in part are investing in this process.
Yeah. So good. So what you just said could have been about art, could have been about craft, could have been about a heritage chair made from unique wood that sell in the forest of Orcas Island, right? Okay. So I just wanted to bring up some of these thoughts, some of these emotions, discomfort when we talk about, money and art and value all together. So I'm going to go into my presentation a little bit more deeply now. So I'd love it if everyone muted, and then we'll go back to these ideas and they'll be churning around in your mind as we go. Okay. So again, our emotions are all over the place, comedy and tragedy. We believe in art, right? But as we put it out there into the world, our beliefs get muddy and things get smoky and there's so many other things involved. What I want to offer today, what I want to suggest is that you don't become a successful artist because of your skills. You become a successful artist because of your mind. Of course, our mind creates everything in our world. It creates our art, but our belief system around our art is what is going to take us to the next level. So we think about just all the things that you brought up. Was it me reading your minds? No, I've gone through this stuff myself. So what is holding you back? I don't have enough business skills. I hate selling. I don't want to exchange money. I don't have the motivation to get out there and market. There's no big reason, but there's a lot of all these little stories that chip away at our self-concept of an artist that can bring value to the world day by day. So that is why, in a sense, this is a simple problem to solve because your brain is trying to solve the wrong problem. Your brain thinks if I just learn business skills, if I just learn to sell, if I just learn to market, I will become successful. I will have what it takes to do these things. But we don't have a skills problem. We have a belief problem. Okay. And so now, today, right now, is a turning point, as is every day. Okay. I'm not saying that now on this webinar, but yes. And every day in the present moment is a time that you can shift that belief to not only access your belief in art, which I know you have, access your belief in yourself, which I know you have, and access your belief in others, the audience. And I'm going to talk about what the audience is. And that's where the problem usually lies. But we're going to talk about all these things as a belief problem, not a skills problem. However, we will be building skills today as well. I want to first posit this, that money, those little pieces of paper with numbers on them, which are numbers on your bank account, on a price tag, on your website, are just a concept and a thought and a belief that everybody has agreed on. Money has existed in every culture since the beginning of time. They were cowrie shells. They were gold. They were jewels. They were stones. And eventually we've created systems around it. So we have circumstances in the world that then became a thought. Oh, if I give you this thing, you'll give me that thing. I am creating value. Then that became a belief system that developed over time. And what is a belief? Those people that have worked with me before, a belief is just a thought that you think over and over. So in our world, we've thought over and over, money is valuable. This thing is valuable, and we've created a money system in different places. It's created different ways. It's been barter, it's been trade, it's been all sorts of different things. But we live in a quasi-capitalist society where money with the numbers is the belief system we live with value. Okay. So money is created by value. All right. So how is value created? Value is created by belief in yourself as an artist and your ability to create something beautiful. Then that belief is also connected to belief in art in general. We believe that art changes lives. Why? Because we have the thought over and over, art changes lives, and art has changed our lives. These two sides of the triangle are pretty easy. It's the belief in the audience sometimes that we have the problem. What is an audience? Audience comes from audio, to hear, those within hearing range, or those with the ability to perceive, receive, or grasp. And it comes from the Greek word to feel or perceive, which I think is very interesting. In Sanskrit, it means openly evident, audio, openly evident, the base word. In Slavic, it comes from the word to reveal. So it's the ability to hear, perceive, receive. So the audience is waiting to receive. When we think about the audience as a group of people or people that you are talking to, they're waiting to receive, they're waiting to hear, they're waiting to perceive.
And it's so important to believe that there is an audience out there, that there are people who want what you have to offer. And building that belief is really the last essential piece in selling your work. When you believe that there are people out there that want your work, then you're going to go and find them. And that's what we're working on here, to build that belief in those people that love your work as much as you do.
So let's stop there for a second. And this is your one-page marketing plan. It's going to include what has worked before for you. So I want your brain to start thinking about that. What has worked before in the past? If you've ever sold anything, if you ever had a lemonade stand, if you ever had a garage sale, if you ever have sold a piece of art, a piece of design, a chair, a service, anything. What has worked in the past? Then we'll talk about what's next and what's new. So let's go first into the worksheet part of this. And this is the audience, art, and artist, all connected in a tool that I'm going to share. It's just one tool. There are lots of other tools that we use in mindset work and all of that. But this I've found, especially with marketing, works really well. Circumstances in the world, these are facts. These are neutral. Money is a piece of paper with number on it. We decide with our thoughts what we think about that. Then it gives us a feeling, as we just talked about. When we feel discomfort or uncomfortable or anxiety, what do? We act, we don't act. Okay? So how do you show up? And our actions create our results. So as we go through this, I want you to write down, what are your thoughts first about art in general? Just write something in the T line. What is art? What does art do? What are your beliefs and your thoughts about art in general? You can put these in the chat as well. Art is a way to express. Art connects people. Yes, for me, I love that. Art connects people in so many different ways. I'll say, oh, it's hard to talk about my work. But then when we get with a bunch of artists and we get to talk about it, we just can't shut up, right? We get to talk and talk. So this is art as a big concept. We can talk about art. We can talk about Picasso. We can talk about Georgia O'Keeffe. We can talk about Cindy Sherman. We can talk about our latest movie that we love. We can talk and talk. Art fosters transformation. Yes, Sabrina. Art elevates us as humans. Art is a metaphor. Art is a way that we can look at the world in totally different ways. It's a way to translate what's out there in this big, scary world to our human mind as metaphors. And this is why I call my podcast The Metaphor Mindset, to think about how metaphors are bridges to the ways that we think about art, our businesses, and so on. So those are some of our thoughts about art. When we think those thoughts, what are some of the feelings that you feel? I'm feeling some of them right now. When I think that art is all those things, I feel elated. I feel delighted. I feel, we see happy, validation, inspired, changed, all of those things. And we know that. This is the place we live in. This is why we make art. Then when we feel those things, we feel elevated and excited and changed and inspired. What do? I know what I did was I went to art school finally. I finally got my thoughts and my feelings aligned so I could actually go and engage in this process that I wanted to. Hopeful, honored. Oh, that's so good. And so I took big steps. I changed my life. My actions were huge. I moved across the country for art. Okay. This is for the big art. I take art history classes. I took art classes. I teach art classes, right? So that's for big A art. I'm doing this for art, regardless of whether I actually ever sell my own art or not. Okay. So I'm talking about big A art. I changed my job. Yes. So we believe so much in those thoughts that we have, and those feelings have driven us to change our lives through our actions. What are some of your results from big A art? I had time to have an exhibition. I'm finding my work more fulfilling, satisfaction, becoming a better person. Yes. Work that is more in tune with myself. Yeah, for me, I traveled. My results were that I got to travel because I focused on that. I found depth in the mundane and connection with others. I love it. Oh my gosh, Angela, that's so true. Inspiring other closet artists, yes, and scholars and readers, right? And healers and all of those people out there practicing creativity. So let's go on connecting with other artists. Tribe, yes, totally. Now, let's talk about the model that you might have around your art and the artist. Okay, so the C line is, we all accept this, we are artists. Sometimes that might be something you want to work on as a belief. And we've all kind of struggled with that, but we finally come to the point where we're like, we can say that sentence, I'm an artist. And Matt, you're an artist with those chairs. Sabrina, you are an artist with the healing that you do. Charla, you are an artist in your teaching. Okay, so we've all come to that point. What are your thoughts around your art that are different than the big mama art or big daddy art, right? Big daddy energy, big mama energy of the big A art. We just talked about it was so powerful. How does that shift and change? You can put good, bad, or indifferent in this line right now. What thoughts do you have about your own art? And it's okay to reveal any fear here. Okay, this can be anonymous. Although I'm going to record it and people are going to see it, but I just feel like it's really good to share. Hey, is it good enough? It's important. I am good enough. And the thing is, yes, we go back and forth. Am I good enough? I'm good enough. Is it important? Is anyone going to care? It is important, right? We go back and forth. So what I suggest here, I compare myself too much. Yes, because there's so many artists out there. So all those artists out there are under the umbrella of the muse, right? Big A art. So what I want to suggest is big A art has your back. Okay. Anytime we doubt and we have issues around our own thoughts around our art, we can go to the big A and get some thoughts, get some beliefs, get some inspiration. Okay, here we go. Are others getting the notion of what I'm trying to share, right? Can I connect with the audience? It's less confusing than it used to be. That's good. So great. So these are the thoughts when we're thinking, am I good enough or I'm not good enough? Then I'm just going to use that one as an example. Our feelings are less than, insecure, not confident. And then our actions are to hide and avoid. and our results are staying in the cave, right? So we know this. It's not that we won't ever have those thoughts, those I'm not good enough, I'm uncomfortable, but we just want to focus on the better ones more of the time, because all of these thoughts will exist in our mind all of the time. And just accepting them and just knowing that's going to happen will help you say, okay, I'm human. I'm in this place. Now, what can I do next to make the next step? That's where we go to the audience. Let's look at our thoughts around the audience really quick. Okay, so what, Angela, you brought one up. What are others getting the notion of what I am trying to share? Okay, so that's a thought. And anytime you have a question in the T line, try to answer it for yourself. What are our thoughts about humans, those receiving? What are our thoughts about that? Are others getting the notion of what I'm trying to share? What Angela is doing is really beautiful. What she does is work with her own personal journey and explore that and become very open with that with others and through her art, in the hopes that others will understand and connect and really see that they can be healed through this process as well. Angela, later you can talk about that if you want to, but I think it's really interesting. Judy, we can't control what others perceive about our art. Okay, that's a thought. When we think we don't have a whole lot of control over things, then sometimes we feel, I'm not so sure if what I'm doing is actually connecting with anyone. And then we close our world down a little bit. And then the results will be, again, avoidance. So what are some thoughts that we might have about our audience or other people that might help us create some thoughts around it that might be more useful? Often I think here we have this bridge thought idea or the bridge feeling or the bridge idea. Okay. I might think right now, oh my gosh, no one wants what I have. My aster might be, everyone wants what I have. And in the middle is somewhere is a truth we can live with, a truth we can believe. So part one was thinking about the audience, thinking about your thoughts about yourself, about your art, and about your audience. Okay, so then when we take those and move them to the next place, let's think about what has worked in the past. And this is about thinking about your value and then how you transferred that into an offer. So I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine. She moved into a new neighborhood. She had a new child. She had to go back to work part-time and she needed a babysitter. She went around and she put on Facebook everywhere, her groups, and she told everybody, I need a babysitter. They went to a couple of agencies. They really were having a hard time finding anyone that could come to the house because she didn't want someone to live with them, but she did want someone that was local. Come to the house and do what she needed. So she put it out everywhere. It took 2 months and they were really struggling in finding it. Then just before she had a few people narrowed down, just before she made a decision, somebody posted in one of these groups, they said, hey, I'm a child care professional. If anybody needs help or knows if anybody, please let me know. And my friend said, what I wish was, what if that person had done this? They had created a picture of themselves. They had created a little 4 bullet point list of, this is what I do. I know how hard it is for you to find someone and trust someone with your child. And I am that person. I'm here. I'm offering my services. I can come to your house. I can work part-time. I love to play with kids. I know how to teach basic reading, some basic things like that. And my friend said, if she had done that, I would have just dove right into it. I would have called her right away. I would have said, please come over, please help me. Okay, so you understand what I'm getting at. My friend was the audience. She was looking everywhere for this thing. And if only that person with that skill had been tenacious enough to put it out there at the right time and place, the audience was already there waiting for her. Okay, so that is what I mean by creating value and creating demand. The demand is out there. So if we think the thought about our own work, I am in demand. I want to open it up to you to think about what are your emotions around that. When you say, I am in demand, when you think the thought, I am in demand, what do you feel? I know I'm forcing that thought into your brain, but go ahead and try it out. Makes me feel good, validated. Doubt, yes, doubt. Okay, but when we do excited, okay, when we do feel the thought, just try this on for a minute. If you were to think the thought, I am in demand, then what, and you had the feeling of, say, excited, what would you do? And Judy says, I'm exposed. Okay. What would you do? If you had the thought, I am in demand, and if you had the feeling, I'm excited, what would you do? If someone called you up from a gallery and said, I want your work, you felt excited, what would you do? What action would you take? I would figure out how to go about sharing. I would tell them how to purchase it. Yes, you would give them the information. Get professional. How best to satisfy the demand. You would get to work. You would do what you would need to do to help that person access your work, right? You would put a varnish on. You would gather your body of work. You would put things together. You would put it on your website. You would get excited and you would do the actions. But often we sit and we think and we waste time worrying about, oh, is anyone going to like what we're doing? So what I want to offer today is you can create that feeling in your mind. If you were in demand, I would feel this way. I'd feel excited. When I'm in demand, what do? I put my body of work out there. I put a flyer out there. I make a page on my website, right? We take action. We figure it out. So what is my value? What is my offer? We figure out our specific offer. Now you might be saying, but nobody's calling me up from a gallery. Okay. But this is where we're going to start with our one-page marketing plan from what has worked in the past. A last little exercise, and then we're going to talk about this. So step one was create value. Understand that value comes from our thoughts and our beliefs in ourselves, in our art, and in our audience. Number two is creating demand. What is my value? What do I offer? What has worked in the past? And that's where we start. Then we go to the next stage. What's next? What can I try next? And what can I try that's new? And then step number three, or I put Roman numerals on create demand, but I should have put Roman numerals on this one too. 3 is manage your mind, because in this whole process, your mind's going to freak out as it may be doing right now. Our mind is always freaking out, going back and forth and decisions and doubts and all of that. And Sabrina is our local healer. And she would say, as she's told me before, let's step back and look at our brain, look at the thought that our brain is having, and just notice them. Just notice what our brain is trying to do and have compassion for ourselves, because our brain is trying to keep us from doing anything. Our brain says, wait a second, we were happy just a minute ago watching television. Everything is fine. You don't need to do any work. We look at the bank account and we feel fear, right? And so suddenly we're like jumped into action. But when we create art and we create things out of fear, that's not fun. Okay? So we want to be creating from a point of abundance, not from fear and lack. So that's why managing your mind around all of this is so important. Okay, so let's go into what's working. I'm going to share one more thing and then we're going to do our worksheets. I'm going to give you an example of what worked for me in the past. I created a solo show. I rented a space. I created a list of the things I needed to do. I got a body of work together. It gave me the opportunity to create this body of work. I filmed and took pictures of some of my process. I put those on social media. I created a blog and a newsletter, a little press release. It was very simple. I emailed it to my local newspaper. They put it on the websites. I gathered email addresses at my beforehand and I sent them this announcement. Then at the show, I also gathered email addresses. It allowed me to meet people in person. It allowed me to put flyers around town. It allowed me to talk. And then at the show, I got to practice talking about my work. It allowed me to evaluate and learn from that process. I created content from that process, from all the pictures for next blogs and next social events and next classes. It allowed me to build demand and sales throughout the next year. I gave my card away. I sent some emails out and I sold a bunch of art that day and during that 3-day show. Then also throughout the next year, because more people were like, oh, I remember your piece. Is that sold yet? And I sold pieces. I made money that day and I made money later on. Okay, so this is what I mean by what's worked. So now, other ideas. I want you to spend a few minutes and then I'm going to open up the room to talk about this. What has worked for you in the past? What has really worked for you? Was it putting a flyer up in your community? Was it doing a local art show? Was it emailing 10 people and say, I have this thing, I think you'd like it, like I did for this workshop. I doubled the amount of people in this workshop by emailing people individually and saying, I think you would like this workshop. That was creating demand. And I just want to show you by modeling that behavior, it was very simple. And I thought, why should I do that? That seems very piddly, just to email people and tell them I think they could benefit from this. But it worked. Okay. And we start there and we build demand like that. I'm going to give you 1 minute and I'm going to set a timer. Jot down on your sheet what has worked, or just on a piece of paper. As we go into the last part of this, I just want you to really take away, besides the 1-page marketing plan, which we're going to now work through a little bit further, I really want you to take away what would happen if you practice the thought, I am in demand, people want what I have to offer.
Art changes lives. There are people out there who love my art. The more I show up for my art, the more I can help others transform. People are attracted to what I do. I'm finding the right people, and my brain is going to work on the problem.
It seems so simple, but it brings up a lot of thoughts and emotions. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Georgia O'Keeffe. She says, I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life and have never let it keep me from doing a single thing I wanted to do. Now, I don't wish fear or terror on anyone, but it just shows that big A art, big mama, Georgia O'Keeffe, is human and had the same fears that everyone else has. So we can go and tap into art, big A art, when we have doubts, knowing that we're human. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and people can unmute and let's talk. All right. What has worked? I would love people to share what has worked. And then also the difference between what's next and what's new. The what's next is that thing that you've always been wanting to try, or the thing that you think you should try, that maybe you're too afraid to try, or that you don't feel like you quite have the skills to try, like a Facebook Live or a solo show or whatever, because that next thing is going to bring up the fear and doubt, but it's something that you're interested in. You have the energy to go, okay, I'm going to try that. So this 1-page marketing plan can work for a quarter. Set it for 3 months, do the thing that worked, that next thing, try that. And then what's new is all about, I'm going to try something totally new that I may have never even thought of or tried before. Like I'm going to post on Instagram every day for 2 weeks. or I'm going to post on LinkedIn. I've never done that before. And we think about that in terms of our 3-month, our quarter, and everything else put to the side, put in the green room, put on your list to think about later. So there's the what's worked in the past. So choose one thing that's worked in the past, one thing for your quarter, one thing that's next that you want to try, and then one thing that's new that you've never tried before that you think, oh, I'm gonna get a little excited about that. Okay, so let's talk. Tell me what you're thinking about all of this. And then if there's someone that wants coaching, we'll go there next. Shannon, you're defining worked as sold work, right? Or is there a more broad definition I'm thinking of? Okay, Lauren, in this case, we are thinking about value and how value creates money. And if something has worked in the past for you to be able to have a show or to create money out of that, that is, I think it's up to every person to think about what works, what has worked. That show worked for me in all those different ways. I got to learn, I got to present my work, and I sold work. What worked can be a lot of different things. Okay. And anyone like to talk?
Yeah, so I could actually probably describe an example. I think a month or so back, I was having a art booth, and during it, I actually printed out a bunch of my writings that I had in my newsletter, reflecting on different emotions, experiences that I was having. And I saw that people would actually pick up the papers and read them and look at them. And I realized I need to make these more accessible. And so my what's next for what worked was accessibility in that sense. So what's next is being able to make this also accessible on my website and easily find that. And then I also, for what's new, I'm thinking I want to be able to share a practice where I do my own writing and offer it to others, in a sense.
Oh, that's so great, Angela. And I'm just looking at what you've done over time, where you started doing videos, like short videos. And that at the time, that was, what's next, right? Because you're excited. But the time, at first it was like, what's new, right? Because you got on TikTok or whatever. But then it became what's next, or in a way, it like became more comfortable. And now that's what's worked, right? It's so you can see how they transfer up from, something being completely new to then becoming part of your repertoire to becoming something that works. Would you say that's accurate in some level?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely saw a major transition where I was thinking, oh, I need to get attention. I need to grab attention as fast as possible through the internet, whatever it may be. But now I'm seeing improvement in long form content, really investing time and energy. So yeah.
Okay, this brings up an amazing point. No one wants to be in that energy of graspiness. I need to get attention. I want to get money. And Sabrina, let's see who was talking about that element of work, living Sabrina, in a capitalist society where like it's all about the money. No one likes that. And I know regular business owners who have brick and mortar businesses don't want that either. They want to live a life where they're creating something beautiful that they offer people and that people want. We all want to live in that world. Where does that world exist? Up here. Okay, so we create that world in our minds. So Angela, as she started to at first think, there was a little bit of this desperate place where, Angela, everyone's been in this place where I need to sell my work. I need to make some money. I need to get attention. I need to get followers. And that is a place we don't want to be. So how do we transform that in our minds? We transform it into a place where we go to capital A art. Art inspires. Art serves us. We can serve others. So what does art do for us? And what is the value of art? Bringing back to Matt regarding utilitarianism, utility versus soft skills. What does art do for us? We have to remember that. Art changes lives. Art gives us beauty in our lives. I was writing this down this morning in my journal, and my journal is one of those things that works for me. I spend time here. I think through things, and that then becomes what's next. And that what's next then becomes some new idea. When we're feeling like we're in service to art and in service to those people who need us, then we're not feeling the graspy energy. All we're doing is that babysitter where we're like, this is what I do. I create beauty in the world. I create heritage furniture for you to sit in with your newborn or your granddaughter, right? That beauty and inspiration. I create fun, like Lauren's pieces. They're fun. They make you think. The newsletter is so fun to read. I need that in my life right now. That's why I respond to your newsletters, because they bring me that joy and the humor. Okay. I see Nicholas here, and Nicholas has created this gorgeous, huge body of work of black and white photographs from San Francisco, the book called Castro to Christopher, right?
Yep.
And it's these gorgeous photos that there is an audience that needs those and wants those. They want the beauty in their lives. They want a picture on their wall. They want to learn about this era. The new people want to learn about it. The young kids who are coming out or whatever, the old people who are like reminiscing. There's always some emotion we're giving. That is utilitarian, I argue. We need it. We use it. Why? Because emotions have created everything in our world. Emotions have created our religions. We need to understand and not be afraid. So we're going to look at the stars and find some order. We're going to look up there for hope. So that's why moving from this graspiness of sales into a service place can really give you that energy and motivation to reach out. Okay. Any other thoughts? Thank you so much, Angela. I thought that's really beautiful, the way that you've shared your work and the way it's grown. So keep going, right? Because you never know. You look back and life gives you like failure the whole time until you stop and see how far you've come. You look back over the last year and you think, well, like only 10 people have really shown any interest. Do it for another few months. It builds. It built. Lauren, your blog. Yes. Lauren's blog is awesome. And please, everyone put their blogs and their websites in the chat. Okay. I love that. And we do this in our business circle too. Post your website. I'm going to post the Art Business Circle, artbusinesscircle.memberup. That is my community, my free community for my clients. You can go in there and join and share your work, share articles, share your blog posts, share your newsletters, sign up for other people's newsletters, share your art. It's growing. Last May, I spent 3 months sitting here going, no one's going to join. What if no one joins? And in those 3 months I could have spent realizing that there were people out there that need what I have to offer and that want to engage. So I wasted the 3 months. Big deal. I'm moving on. Now there are 16 or 17 members and it's slowly growing. So this is what I need. I'm trying to model this for myself, for others, what I've learned from my mentors. Okay, Judy Create, judyartist.wordpress.com. Love it. Matt O'Brien, Instagram. And your website, Matt? Okay, awesome. And Sabrina, I can't wait to get your website up. Jan Murphy, Art and Coaching. Beautiful. Jan Murphy, please, would anyone else like to talk? Jan Murphy, I would love to hear from you because you have shifted and changed what you've done. So let me know. Let us know.
First of all, I just want to say that I feel like I've found my people. Everything that people have said really resonates with me. I come from an animal rescue, animal welfare background, and also create art as therapy because it's no fun working in the animal rescue world, as you might guess. So with Shannon's help and gentle nudging, I've just become a compassion fatigue coach, and I'm combining that again with Shannon's help to create a art therapy business aimed at people who need artistic expression as a means of healing, whether, regardless of what their background is.
And the interesting thing, Jan, that you've done these workshops for a long time. You've done art workshops, you've been teaching for a long time, but now it just has that added value of, I'm also going to be leading you through some of these principles of healing and how to deal with this specific audience of people who have worked with animals and who have given and helped until they become exhausted. Right. That's the compassion fatigue. Right. And so this is why I do the Enneagram with people and the Colby for those helpers out there who help everybody else, but they find it hard to find time to have compassion and really help themselves and really take care of themselves. Right. So this is why self-knowledge and artist know thyself is so important. My Enneagram is the achiever. I go out there and do things. I get degrees and I go to school, but I was ignoring a big part of my spirituality. And so until I could really realize that the skills weren't going to get me there, it's my mind that's going to make me feel happy about the whole process. Right. That's what I needed to work on. And now I'm sharing that with others, just like Jan has been teaching and she had the skills. And I remember hearing, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. She paints these beautiful, amazing, hilarious, wonderful, inspiring animals. And she used to say, I am the painter of cats. Right, Jan?
That's right.
And I saw the doubt in your eyes as you work about learning how to paint, learning how to make art, and you struggle with these doubts, right? We all do.
Yeah, of course.
And now, as you're doing this next phase, it's just building that demand, building that belief in yourself, building that people love these beautiful animals and they want to learn how to heal themselves through animals. So it's just so cool how it just like grows.
Yeah, we hope so. I'm just sticking the top, so we'll see how it goes.
We got to practice. And you're doing a workshop next month. So that's exciting.
Yes.
Love it. Okay. Anyone else? Any other comments? Would anyone like to step up for coaching on any of these specific issue in your life, in your business, in your marketing?
Not so much a specific coaching, but I'll just share been working and where it's going, just tying into all this, obviously. But you had shared with me we talked about BARFing, which is an acronym for I can't remember the exact breakout for it.
Okay, I'm going to write it up.
But I'm an introvert. I don't want to go out and do things. And what's been successful is talking to people one-on-one for me. I'm not necessarily connecting, at least I don't feel like I connect online or in digital or anything like that. But if I'm talking to somebody one-on-one or in a small group, it just seems to work. I forced myself to sign up for a holiday market and committed to bring 2 custom chairs to it. 2 custom chairs I haven't yet built. So it's motivated me to get to work. So Shannon and I had talked previously about, she'd use the analogy or the acronym BARF.
Make me feel like you want to.
It's worked and it is working. And it's, I guess for me, the takeaway from the acronym is just simply do the thing you don't want to do first, and you'll get past it and see results and have those positive, you're more likely to get those positive thoughts and feelings and determine what's next better if you do these hard things first that might not be your preferred thing that you want to do. But for me, it helped me from just being too caught up in, I think a lot of us deal with maybe perfectionism in our work, and that's tied into, is it good enough? And that's tied into, will anybody buy it? So I think it's just, for me personally, it's a matter of just getting it out there and not being able to like backtrack. So I'm in a show, I got to bring 2 chairs, let's get it done. And there's no more thinking involved. It's action, and it's something I'm actually excited about, because now it's, I don't have to build them for somebody. I get to build them exactly how I want to and then show them off.
Yes. And so bold action.
To work for me has got me to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the acronym is bold action, recover faster. When you take bold action, then you can recover from that barfiness faster. Okay. But the thing about what Matt is doing is he didn't say, I'm going to be in the show and oh my God, I have to make 20 chairs and oh my God, are people going to buy anything? What we worked through was he's going to have a booth. He's going to take 3 chairs or 4?
2 or 3. Yeah, I'm gonna have some.
Like small.
I'm gonna have small. Need that.
Yeah, just
more in.
be very simple about it. Like this 1-page marketing plan, right? Take 3 chairs to a live action human show.
Mm.
And then because you do custom work, you're going to have people sit in them. And you're going to have the people look at them. And you're going to have an email list. And you're going to talk to people about them. So see how simple that is versus, oh, I'm going to make a show. What am I going to take? How many things am I going to put in? Just keep things really simple. And that's what he decided to do. And that's a very bold but simple action because I'm starting to see this belief that, oh, they need this. This is a beautiful heritage chair. Everyone, every family should have a handmade chair. When you believe that and you believe in your own work and you think, I'm going to make it so people can come and sit in this and experience this and understand why it would be so amazing for everyone to be able to have one of these chairs. Of course, you're not going to get everyone in the world. Some people can't afford them, etc. But you're going to, when you believe that, oh, every family should have one of these chairs. And then you put 3 chairs out for people to sit in. And then you talk to them about, you made them, the wood was found in the woods, it's heritage wood, Madrona, all that's where they can go, oh my God, yeah, my grandmother needs this, or my wife needs this for our child, and we can pass it down to the next generation. It becomes simplified instead of, oh, I got to make this, I got to do built-ins, and I got to do tables, and I got to do, what do people want?
Janet, you literally said, don't bring more than 2 chairs. I don't know if you use those words, but you're like, Matt, like 2. Don't think about bringing 10 things, bring 2.
Yes, and we'll see if it works. We'll see. It'll work for you in your mind. We'll see how it goes. Then you'll evaluate it, and we'll talk about that later. We don't worry about the future right now. You just take your belief, you do what you think has worked, what will work, what's next, and then you keep going with that belief. I am in demand. People want what I have to offer.
Can I offer, Matt, I'm just having done a lot of art tours myself, Matt, what I would do, and you probably already do this, is when you set up your booth, stage it with some books and maybe a teapot or something to make people think, I really want to sit and be in that chair, or I picture my family in that chair with a little stack of books and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I like
I
that.
10% of your tail, please. Perfect. Send me a check.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
See, Jan, see, you're a coach. I've always known.
Yeah.
Go, do it. Anyway. But I also think that we all can teach others from what our mistakes and what we've learned in the past and what our wisdom can take our businesses to that next phase of sharing them with others.
I just have a quick thing. I wanted to say that I think everyone in this group seems to understand that money does not equal success, nor does success equal money. I think success is something different to each of us, but it's not. I think money may be further down the list of priorities for creative types. Yeah.
And money is relative, right? What's a lot to one person may be a little to another person.
Yeah, it's just energy.
So the main thing we want, I think, that is a baseline, you want to act from a place of sufficiency, not need graspiness. So if you can create that, and this is the strategies, create an atmosphere, make decisions, and walk the path. When you can create an atmosphere of sufficiency in your mind before you do these actions, I have a roof over my head. I'm able to put food on the table. Then you can act from more of a place of sufficiency. Now, if you don't have those things and you do have a lot of financial anxiety, you can still feel sufficient. We have running water where we turn a tap and water comes out of it. in this country. A lot of people don't have that. So it creates a sense of like sufficiency in whatever your situation is. But if you need to have another job as you build this other business, or you need to have another part-time work or whatever, just don't think that as a negative. Just think, this is a big picture I'm building. What a beautiful thing, Anne, to be able to have this design business and also art, and be able to use both things to learn from each other and build that demand in both ways and learn values and learn skills in both areas. Do you have anything that you'd like to say?
The theory of that is really good. And I agree. It is great to have both. But to negotiate the balance between the two is because they're both quite demanding, and they're demanding in different ways. So I'm hoping they can be complementary. But I'm also worried that I'm just using the design side of it as a kind of a fail-safe, because underneath it, I probably don't really believe that I can make any money. And money is important, and I want to make money with art. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
looking. And so I have to negotiate this whole thing of whether the design side of it, although I enjoy that very much as well. I really enjoy that side of it. But sometimes I worry if that's just another way to get myself not to fully commit to just the painting. But then I say, do I really even need to? What's fully commit? Because I have these needs in myself that are real, that I get from these different aspects, from the painting and then from the design work. I get different things, and I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to ride the horse of these two things going at the same time, seeing if it's doable, really.
Yes. And what will determine whether it's doable or not?
What will determine? But if I don't go insane, that will help. That might help. Just if I don't get overwhelmed by the amount of work that's involved in keeping the two of them going.
Okay. And so what could help you from not getting overwhelmed?
And so, I don't know. Really don't know. I just try to balance out the time, using the time for each of those things. I give time to both of them, and I'm trying to balance that right now. But I also want to bring money in. So the design side of things is getting a bit more focused right now. I don't know. I'm still, to be honest, I'm having trouble with managing the two of them together.
Yes. And
it's
you're not alone in this, right? This idea of balancing everything, and it feels like the plates, and it feels like things are going to fall. And so from all of the things that we talked about today, I'm not necessarily saying that everything is going to be roses and rainbows. Okay.
yeah.
However, the idea of spending a little more time in your beliefs that you are an amazing artist and that you can do it and that you can balance it, then just going back to that, like this is the belief-o-meter. What is my belief today? What is my belief level today? I suggest everybody makes this. And it could be like a temperature gauge if you want. But just knowing that like this changes, it can change, right? Like the barometer, like the temperature, like the weather.
Yeah.
And Jude mentioned something that like we can't control. Okay. But this is the question. What are the things I can control? What are the few things that I can simplify and make essential decisions about on a daily basis? I can control how I spend my time for the most part, right? I can set things up and it shifts and changes, but I can attempt to simplify my schedule. I can say no to things that are really encroaching. And this is where the helper has a hard time saying no. I can practice saying no. I can have somebody to report to. If you say no to something, go to Art Business Circle and say, hey, everybody, I said no to my cousin who wanted me to go and paint a mural on the side of their house or whatever for free. Those kinds of things. I said, I raised my prices. It's not all or nothing, right? When we get into this all or nothing thinking, that's when that belief-o-meter goes all the way down or all the way up. So when you can say, okay, where am I today? And what do I have control over? What can I essentialize? How can I keep this simple? And how can I stay out of that all or nothing thinking and just one step at a time? That at least helps me to calm my brain down and say, okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm making these baby steps. Once in a while, I'll have a breakthrough. Then I'll go back to the baby steps again. And this is how it goes, right? Because we're going to stay human. We're not going to get a different brain. And it's always going to be like this in our brains. But the more we can spend time in that belief, the more we can simplify things and the more we can say no to things that really aren't going to be in our vision, then the more we can keep our brains from indulging in that overwhelm. And that's the work, right? I manage that. I try that on a daily basis. And that's why step 3 is is managing your mind and your body and your emotions and all of those things. So putting that work into it, as I know that you are in, continually, and looking back and see how far you've come. Okay. Any thoughts about that? I know yes, it's frustrating. It can be hard.
Yeah, and it's good to look back and see how far you've come in the times. That's true. I have. But thinking about small things that I can do that can help me that aren't, as you say, they're not a huge thing. Maybe think of one thing. That would be with my art. I've been thinking of doing a video of my process because I feel like I put out, if it's on Instagram, a lot of it, some of it is work in progress, but a lot is like finished artwork. And there's not really much personal input from me coming across.
So what is that? I'd like to know why do you think that is?
I mean, on the one level, I just don't want to share myself with people.
Why is that?
Because I don't think I need to. These are underlying feelings. It's not, so these are very deep. But then on the other hand, I do, when I do get feedback and when I give feedback and then there's an interaction with people, I do that too. I think
It's really interesting that what's next for you, and we're saying what's next is maybe to make a video that you've wanted to make.
yeah.
That is, and we think, oh, I'm out there selling things. No, what you're doing is exploring your emotions and realizing that, wow, at the base of me not wanting to film myself is all this other stuff. And this is the work. I'm doing spiritual work right now.
No,
And don't process.
but I don't want to, I want to video myself or my process, not necessarily myself, but because I don't want, some people are just really naturally, they're out there talking about their work and they're saying, here it is. I'm not like that. So I can use a video format that isn't in my face, which I don't really want, but I can still show what my process is. So that's like a halfway step.
Yes. Yeah. But you're still stretching and doing that next. Beautiful. Okay, Lauren, you have your hand raised. You can unmute yourself, I think. Yeah. Thanks, Anne.
And unmuted, and I have my hand raised. So I'm not
Go
trying to
ahead.
take my hand away, but we're not going to worry about it. Some of this discussion is just so valuable because I'm keen on that singular goal of income, and in the process and in the willingness to do next steps and new steps. I got to this place of writing this blog, this newsletter, in order to attract sales. There haven't been any sales from any of that. And I make a point of linking to my, website that shows the shop on the website. But what I've found instead is this incredible fulfillment doing the next newsletter, what's the next newsletter going to be? What are people responding to in the newsletter? How can I double down on that? Oh, look how this newsletter links to what I originally thought was my career 40, 50 years ago. And I think the argument is, if I'm willing to open myself up to the process, stuff shows up that I didn't expect, that I'm really glad I got.
That's so true. And this is one of my mentors used to say, entrepreneurship is the playground for the soul's expansion. Because it does bring up all of these things about shyness, about introversion, about self-worth, about doubt, about excitement, about ego, about all of these things that allow us to confront them, allow us to access them. Like Joseph Campbell said, the demon you enter in the cave will be the one that will save you, or something. I actually can't remember it, but something like that. Sabrina, you probably know. I should probably just Google it. But the idea is that the thing that we are most afraid of is the thing that is deepest in us, that we can work with and we can grow from, and all of that. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go and in their business become this guru or anything, but I do think that we're all drawn to this work. But you don't have to have a business. No one has to sell any of their art. They could just make it and put it in the basement. Could go to a job and have a job. A lot of people do that. But for some reason, there's some impulse in us to want to reach out, even if we are introverts. And I'm the same way, even though I sometimes don't seem like it. But I have a hard time doing that same stuff, reaching out and all of that too. And that's why what works is great, because it's okay. Certain things I'm okay with. I don't mind having an in-person show, right? It's more the social media stuff that's hard for me. Ironic, because a human being might be more likely to run up and punch me in the face than somebody on the internet. Is just light, all right? It's just pixels. But notice how it's like triggers me much more. So it's interesting that entrepreneurship and business is the work of our soul, because it brings up all of these things that then we have to confront and deal with. And you're doing it. We're all doing it. So that's something to be really proud of. And it's fun. It gives me energy. It gives me excitement. And then I run up against a hard place, and then I go, okay, not sure. And then I go, okay, maybe I'm going to go around it or do this over here. But it's fun. It's a game. It's the infinite game of being human. Okay. Last thoughts. Anything I missed? There's a lot to keep up here, so not sure if I covered everything, but what's working, what's next, and what's new. And set it and forget it for 3 months. Then at the end of the 3 months, the quarter, go back and do your evaluation and go, okay, I did my winter show, my winter art show. Okay. I wrote a blog post every week, and I posted on Instagram twice a week, whatever it is. And then look back and see, okay, am I going to shift that? Am I going to move things up the scale? Or am I going to add more to my blog? Am I going to do something more there? And then think about the offer, right? The babysitter making the offer. Be very clear about what you offer and just put it out there and tell people, because how are people going to find the babysitter if you don't tell them? Somebody may be moving into a new house and have empty wall space and going, we just want an Irish, abstract, colorful, huge piece of art on my wall, and I can't find it. And there's Anne McGlynn. and her work is amazing. Right? So when we can think that, we all live in this imaginary world in our heads. And so does everybody else. So what I hope is that you can make your art performance art. I'm taking an art history class on performance art. It's fascinating. My question to myself is, what if my business were performance art? How can I make it more creative, more interesting, more fascinating to myself? All of these things, classes, there's just a world of things we can do. But don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't allow yourself the indulgence of becoming overwhelmed. Okay? Just keep it simple. And bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself back to what you can control. Keep things very essential. I wish you the best of luck over the next quarter. I will be doing these again every few weeks. I'm going to do one Thought Salon for the end of the year. And it's going to be about planning next year and envisioning the year. I'm also going to do one about ideating, how to come up with new ideas. I found that, and we just ended right at an hour and a half, maybe a little bit too long for me. My thought is, I want to keep it to an hour and 15 minutes or even an hour. But then all these things come up and I talk a lot, right? My own thoughts about this. Okay. So I just want you to know, this is how it works. We see our thoughts, we let them go. We just keep going and trying things. I would love to invite last comments and last thoughts about today or anything.
Just thank you for the community. This is great.
Oh, good. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for being there.
Thank God there's a recording on the way, overflowing right now.
Lauren loves the recordings. I think, and see, my thought is nobody's going to watch the replay. Lauren's always like, where's our replay? So I'm in demand. We're in demand. You never know. So just act as energized. You were in demand. Sorry. Sabrina, go ahead. This was really energizing. I have a nice list of things. Awesome.
I really appreciate it. Seriously. This was such a treat. And I've definitely been having a bit of a block. And I think this, opened things up a bit more.
So great. Yeah, Angela, people need what you have to offer. And remember, an offer is asking someone if they would like to purchase something from you. Remember that, right? It's not just, I make art, but I make art. This is how you can have some of this art in your life. Sometimes it's hard to make that last step, but you have this value, you have the demand. Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and make the offer. Make a challenge for yourself over the next 3 months. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.